Alright, welcome to day 15 of 30 days of eating for me and my dog after 5 years on a carnivore diet. I am tracking, documenting, and sharing every single thing that me and my dog eat, and at the end of each video, I go over a complete nutritional breakdown as well as the cost for each day. So if this is something that resonates with you and you want to follow along as we try to optimize the diet, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. This is the halfway point in this journey, so starting today, I'm going to start trying to optimize the diet. I'm going to start being very intentional about what I put in my body, how I structure my meals, and I'm going to try and plan things out in a way that allows me to get as close as possible to my RDA on all these nutrients. So this is my first time doing this. I'm not really too sure how exactly this is going to work out, but I'm going to work through it and we'll see what happens. So it's going to be a pretty interesting experiment, and I'm really looking forward to doing this because I am introducing foods that I don't normally eat, and they all bring a very specific and unique nutrient profile to my diet. So I'm not really sure how this is going to make me feel, but I'm gonna get my workout in and then I'm gonna go upstairs, prep some food, and get ready to eat. I have 12 ounces of wild caught salmon fillets, skin on, 3 ounces of mussels, 3 ounces of oysters, Alright, so here's what I ended up with. I have my 12 ounces of wild caught salmon. I did include 2.5 tablespoons of organic butter. I've got 3 ounces of mussel, 3 ounces of oysters, and a side of bone broth, and a 1/4 teaspoon of eggshell powder for a little extra calcium. And I'm also including some pink Himalayan salt. Of course, I include this with pretty much every single meal. So the grand total for everything I'm about to eat is $6.07. So I can tell that by trying to optimize, by including these different foods and stuff in the diet, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive, but $6 for a meal still is not bad. Alright, it's time for supper for the pupper. Let's see what's on the menu. Alright, so tonight we have 11 ounces of chicken back with a little extra chicken on the side here. This is chicken I bought over the weekend, so I got this for 87 cents a pound. So this pile right here is 55 cents. I've got 5 ounces of 80/20 ground beef, which I get from a local butcher shop. I get this for $2.99, so 5 ounces is 95 cents. I've got 5 ounces of chicken gizzards. I get this for $1.25 a pound. 5 ounces is 40 cents. And then right here in the front, I have some deer liver and some chicken kidney. Next up is some hog maws. Hog maw is pig stomach, and I got this for $3.99 a pound. So 3 ounces is 75 cents. And then last but not least, I have 4 ounces of chicken feet. I get these for $2.24 a pound, so 4 ounces is 56 cents. And back here in the back are the free items. I have some raw blood from my beef fat trimmings, and I also have some homemade bone broth. And then back here hiding in the corner, I've got some eggshell powder, and I'm going to include 1/4 teaspoon in tonight's meal for a little extra calcium. So the total cost for all the food that you see here, this is 28 ounces of food, is $3.53, and that boils down to $2.02 a pound. Alright, dog's fed. Now it's time to try and optimize. So I did some playing around on Cronometer, and I was doing some adding and subtracting of foods, and I think I might have came up with a dinner that's going to help round out nutrition. Alright, so here is tonight's spread, the first night of optimization, and this is a lot of food, and there's a lot of organs in here. A lot more than what I would typically consume. So I've got 4 ounces of extra sharp cheddar cheese. I have 6 ounces of pork chop, 6 ounces of deboned chicken back. I wanted to make sure I took the bones out so I could just weigh the meat. 6 ounces of beef steak. I have 2 ounces of beef fat, 2 tablespoons of organic butter, 4 ounces of pork kidney, 4 ounces of chicken livers, 3 ounces of pork liver, and 3 ounces of pork brains, which I've never had. I have no idea what to expect, but we'll see what happens. Pork brains are in. I added a little water in here, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but I am 100% just winging it. So it'll be a lesson learned if it turns out to be horrible. This actually came out to be 42 ounces. So that's over 2 pounds of food. But the way I set this up and the way I built this out in Cronometer is that this meal combined with breakfast earlier should allow me to hit my RDA on every single nutrient. There is nothing lacking. And this is going to be proof that you can get everything that you need from a carnivore diet. But this all breaks down to $6.22. And the only thing in this that I did not pay for was the beef fat that was rendered down that I put in the cast iron skillet. So that's the only thing. Everything else here is from the grocery haul. Now breakfast, it was $6.07. So the total for the day, my eating only, came out to $12.29. All right, so the combined total for my meals and my dog's meals came out to be $15.82. It's just more proof that carnivore is affordable. It does not have to be expensive. And your bang for your buck, what you're getting for your money, is far superior to anything else. I feel like at this point I could probably go 3 days without eating and I'd be totally fine and totally happy. But total calories for the day is 3,869 calories. So that put me at a calorie surplus of 1,085 calories. My recommended daily intake right now, based off my weight, 170 pounds, is a little over 2,500 calories. So that surplus of 1,085 is based on that. And just for awareness, I did weigh myself again this morning. I was 169.8, I think. I've been weighing myself periodically to see if I'm gaining or losing weight, eating at this much of a calorie surplus. And so far, I've been hovering right around 168 to 170. And again, I've been eating this amount of food basically the 5 years I've been carnivore. I'm eating just like I normally would. So it's not like I'm going out of my way to eat all this extra food. I'm just eating when I'm hungry. I'm stopping when I'm full. So with that said, my fat to protein ratio today was a very lean day. And that's because I was trying to get the most amount of bioavailable nutrients in my diet, and I wasn't really worried about getting fat in there. But my fat to protein ratio is 58% fat and 40% protein. So the total amount of protein consumed is 370 grams. So they say that the average person, if you're active and if you work out, you should try to get about 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. That's actually a little over 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Total amount of fat consumed was 249 grams. All right, so now moving down the list here, this is where it's going to be pretty interesting, and I'm pretty excited about this. All right, so vitamin C. This is one that people always talk about. It's impossible to get an adequate amount of vitamin C, and you'll get scurvy if you do carnivore, and all these things that are claimed. Well, I think I might have just proved that wrong, because today I got 106% of my RDA of vitamin C on a carnivore diet, eating only animal foods. So that's pretty awesome. Iron, I got 7 times my RDA, not surprising because I had a lot of liver and a lot of organs just now. B12, again, this is not surprising, almost 40 times my RDA. And that's because of all the liver. That was a substantial amount of liver. Calcium, this is another one that I have not been able to hit my RDA on. And I got 1.3 times my RDA of calcium. And some of that had to do with the eggshell powder I consumed, but also the cheese, the dairy, and stuff like that. Folate, this is another one that's been pretty consistently low. I got 2, almost 3 times my RDA on folate today. Rounding out the nutrients. This is looking really good so far. Vitamin A, not surprising, this one's gonna be pretty high because I just had a lot of liver. So I got 11 times my RDA. Potassium, a little over 1 times my RDA. B vitamins, so B1, this is one that's been usually a little low. It's usually up around 90-some%, but B1 today is 3 times my RDA. So here's vitamin C. All right, so I got 95 milligrams out of the 90 that was recommended for my RDA. The argument that you can't get vitamin C on a carnivore diet, I just disproved that. That is 100% false. And not only did I get my RDA on vitamin C, I could have got it much easier. So the one thing that I could not find that is extremely high in vitamin C is beef spleen. And I would have hit my RDA with just a few ounces of spleen. But I called around my local butcher shops, nobody can get it. So that would be one way to do it. And I could have bumped this vitamin C up. Even if I ate probably about half the amount of liver I ate, I probably would have had almost 2 times my RDA of vitamin C just by consuming a few ounces of beef spleen. But again, this just shows you that by including certain organs, by being kind of strategic about how you plan out your meals, you can get all of these nutrients. So vitamin D, I got 2, almost 2.5 times my RDA. And that's not too surprising. We kind of saw that over the past couple weeks because I included salmon and seafood. And those things are inherently very high in vitamin D. Vitamin E, this is another one that makes a lot of sense because the addition of seafood, the addition of chicken, both those things are pretty high in vitamin E. So it's pretty awesome so far I was able to get vitamin C, D, and E up because those are 3 that have been chronically low pretty much this whole time. Vitamin K. Okay, so this is the one that I have a huge problem with Cronometer, because vitamin K is not tracked like it should be in Cronometer. I looked up the content of vitamin K in specifically poultry and pork. So in 3 ounces of pork, there are 59 micrograms of vitamin K, and that's 49% of your RDA, because my RDA right now is showing 120 micrograms. So I was already at 25 just based off what it was showing I consumed, and it's basically saying that the chicken and the pork has 0 in there. It's very, very little, and it's showing that for almost all the foods I consume for some reason. Now chicken, on the other hand, 3 ounces of chicken contains 51 micrograms, and that's 43% of your RDA. So I consumed 118 micrograms just from pork alone, and then an additional 102 micrograms from the chicken, because I had 6 ounces of each. So that's 220 micrograms. So I almost doubled my RDA vitamin K today, even though Cronometer is not showing that. So again, these are 4 vitamins, C, D, E, and K, that have been chronically low, and I just maxed every single one of them out using only carnivore foods, which is fantastic. Copper, I got 5.5 times my RDA, which is not surprising because organs and specifically liver has quite a bit of copper in it. Iron, I got 7 times my RDA, which is quite a bit of iron, but that makes sense again because of the organs. Magnesium, I got 420.7 milligrams of magnesium just from food, which is absolutely phenomenal because again, these vitamins, these minerals that I'm getting in animal foods are in the most bioavailable form possible. Manganese, this is the one that I have not hit my RDA on, and this one's been consistently low, usually in the single digits, and I got 3.25 my RDA of manganese. Seafood, the oysters and the mussels specifically is what really bumped this up. So again, this is awesome. Areas that have been chronically low are now completely rounded out, and I'm hitting my RDA on everything. Phosphorus, I got 5.7 times my RDA. Selenium, 18.5 times my RDA selenium. That's a lot. Sodium, I'm good with. I got my RDA on that, but I just salt my food to taste. Zinc, we've been seeing that zinc's been pretty high because most animal foods, most meats, and organ meats specifically contain quite a bit of zinc. So zinc, I got 5 times my RDA, which is not surprising. This is pretty consistent with what we've been seeing the past couple weeks. Moving down the list to lipids, fats. So I got 3.7 grams of omega-3. That's 2.31 times my RDA. And I got 14.5 grams of omega-6, which is 85% of my RDA. I am skewed much higher as far as RDA requirements go towards omega-3, which is great. I would rather have more omega-3 and not meet my RDA on omega-6 because omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. It's very essential for human health overall, whereas omega-6 can be kind of pro-inflammatory. So I'm really happy about this, and I feel like this is pretty optimal to have omega-3 as high as it is. Saturated fat, cholesterol, all these things, I'm good with all this. I got a ton of cholesterol a day, 4,562 milligrams cholesterol, and saturated fat, 111 grams of saturated fat. Fats, cholesterol, saturated fat, all that is essential for the human body. And then last but not least, moving down to protein, just like normal, all of my proteins, all of my essential amino acids are well above my RDA by right around 10 times or more. So within the first day of doing this, trying to optimize the diet, I basically rounded out every single nutrient that is required and fundamental for human health. This right here, this little experiment, and again, this is just the first day, but this is basically just proven that you can get everything that you need from a carnivore diet. You can get it from just animal foods. And like I said, not only are you getting it, but you're getting it in its most bioavailable form, and your body can actually use what it's getting, which is phenomenal. Now, I do want to touch on the fact that I did consume a lot of organs tonight, specifically liver. So I know myself when it comes to liver, and I know how much I can tolerate, and I know the signals when I've had enough of it. And tonight was one of those nights. I ate that liver, and by the time I got to the end of it, I didn't want to even look at it. And I think that's very telling in that trying to keep this up and trying to meet my RDA every single day, doing it this way by including organs and things like that is not sustainable, and it's not optimal. And I really don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary to meet your RDA on all these nutrients every single day. I think as long as you're including variety and you're rotating these foods in and out and you're meeting your RDA at least once a week or maybe once every couple weeks, that's going to be enough. So an awesome first day. I'm really glad we got this out of the way. Moving forward, I'm not going to focus as much on organs. but I will be sure to include those occasionally just so I can keep those nutrients in the upper ranges as often as possible. But I'm going to see how much we can optimize this by not relying on organs as heavily. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, join the Apex Tribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. And I'll see you on day 16. All right, peace out.